Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to Looking Ahead, the series where I break down and analyse the meta, what's happening over Japan, and how will it impact Taiwan. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened at the Champions League, analysing the metagame to see exactly how impactful Budew really was to the format, to see exactly how would it really impacted the finals, seen against Archaludon versus Ancient Box. Plus, a ton of brand new cards were revealed from the owner's Pokemon, and we're going to break down exactly how impactful they are going to be to the metagame, and I'm really excited because they also announced rotation for Japan as well. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So, of course, we want to talk about N straight away. N is having a lot of hype already because of N Zoroark, which pretty much has the best part of Zoroark GX with the trade ability and Mew VMAX with its attack. So, we're actually going to see some of the impactful cards as well. So, first of all, let's look at N Staramitan, which I think is quite interesting. The attack back draft, which has 30 damage times the amount of energies in your opponent's discard pile. Of course, this is incredibly powerful against decks like Ceruledge, which have a ton of energy on discard pile, but decks like Trapagos, not as strong because obviously it needs the likes of double turbo and it obviously only plays a maximum of 4. But the other attack for the attack does 90 damage and you get to discard all energy stats for this Pokemon, and you get to do 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This is obviously very powerful and 90-90 snipe and potentially could be really, really strong. I really like End Sigilif as well with the amazing attack victory symbol, which you can only use this attack if you have exactly one prize remaining, and if you do, you win the game. I love these style effects, and I think they're incredibly powerful for this game. Obviously, going to be very good and very easy to get down on the bench, especially when likes of Artisan, Nestball, and stuff like that for the late game. End's PP up is incredibly powerful as well, especially for the NG acceleration. You're going to put a basic NG card from your discard pile to one of your bench End's Pokemon. I really, really like this one. We've already seen decks which really utilize likes of Dark Patch and obviously Aqua Patch as well. So End's PP up is going to be incredibly powerful, especially for these energy hungry style attacks, which you've already seen already. Now I want to look at Iono, which is a brand new reveal for these owners' cards, and I really like Iono's Bellybolt EX. Obviously, a stage 1 Pokemon, which has 280 HP, which is really, really powerful. Lightning types are obviously thing about like the Miraidon, Electric Generator work well with this one, and the ability Electric Streamer. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach basic lightning energy cards from your hand to one of your Iono's Pokemon. This is incredibly powerful. We already see how good sheer cold is in the likes with on Excalibur. So of course we're going to see this incredibly powerful for these Iono style decks. Really flood the board with a ton of lightning energies. And of course we have some other ways to like switch out the guys around. So I think this could be really, really powerful. Obviously we need to wait to see exactly what the rest of attacks are. But right now Bellybolt doing 230 damage and the contact next turn is a very good start. Now, obviously, we have a really good draw factor this one with the Iono's Killer Watchel, which you get to discard a basic lightning energy from this Pokemon. If you do get to draw into F6 cards, really, really powerful. I really like the Stadium card as well, which is once through each player's turn, that player may put up to 2 basic lightning cards from their discard pile into their hand. This is very, very powerful. Obviously, you can streamline your attacks with Iono's Bellybolt with amazing ability. And of course, round up the new cards got revealed, we look at these Lillie sort of cards. Lillie's Comfy I really like, which is search your deck for any number of basic Lillie's Pokemon. Reveal them, obviously put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. Really, really powerful. I love this one. A good call for family, which is great. And the other attack, fade out, 30 damage. You're going to put this Pokemon and all cards attachments into your hand. This isn't too powerful as well. It reminds me a lot of the likes of these stall style archetypes. So it's very interesting if this is exactly where this strategy is going to go. I really like Lily's Pearl because I think this could be very, very powerful. You remember Life Dew? Well, think about having 4 of them in your deck right now. If Lily's Pokemon card, if the attachment is knocked out by damage from your opponent's Pokemon, when your opponent takes 1 less prize card. This is incredibly powerful and actually going to be really impactful to the format. When you think about how powerful likes of Life Dew was, this obviously had a really good deck strategy around with likes of Sableye Gardevoir kind of like streamlining it around. And obviously just chucking this on here, we are saying goodbye to Lost Vacuum when rotation hits. So that's something to really think about. All of these cards are going to be released in the end of January time, and that's when rotation is. And this set's going to have 180 cards. So this is going to be a really huge, impactful format, and I cannot wait to talk about this. Now, let's actually really analyze through the meta right before the Champions League. So if we look at the City League results right here, we can see still Dragapult, the likes of Gardevoir up there at the top, and some very interesting deck is kind of being in the second place, Archaludon, which of course we saw do incredibly well over this past weekend at the Champions League, getting a finalist place, winning spot, as well as also a top 8 placement as well. So Archaludon is definitely been a really good, strong contender. Rest of the form, we still see Lugia do really well, obviously because of the likes of Regigigas to really counter the likes of these Charizards and potentially the likes of Dragapults as well. Miraidon, of course, with a huge and basic Pokemon, and Miraidon does incredibly well in their, like, the best of 1 format. Regigigas and Charizard, again, they're still kind of like kicking up. They've been out for 3% each. And still, I really like that Palkia is doing incredibly powerful, and even Roaring Moon as well. So again, just analysing this as well, we're kind of definitely in this feeling that obviously Budew is incredibly strong and obviously the best utilised of this one are likes of Dragapult and Gardevoir. So let's actually break down the Champions League sort of results, looking at right now what's being revealed, see how exactly how impactful Budew was. So of course we can actually see we don't know how many players there are, but Archaludon managed to win the event, and we know Archaludon last time I think got top 4, so it's doing incredibly well right now in the Champions League, and potentially could be the new sort of style of Miraidon. If we look at the second place as well, we can see Ancient Box actually got there, so obviously the Roy Moonstar one with Monkey Dory, which is great. Top 4 with Lugia and Dragapult. Top 8 also Lugia, Dragapult with Goldingo, which is a really interesting deck, which I can't wait to talk about. Another Archaludon and Miraidon. Top 16 so far has been 2 Lugias, a Gardevoir and Dragapult, and top 32 has been a Raging Bolt, Gardevoir, and Ceruledge. This is a huge, interesting sort of style of decks, which is completely different to how I thought it was kind of like going into the Champions League. Going into the turn, I thought obviously Dragapult and Gardevoir probably still going to be the most played archetypes, but I thought they have a much deeper run. I think Archaludon is a great metacal right now. It's got a ton of HP, very easy to get into this one because it's only a stage 1. It's an amazing way to actually rebuttal some of these huge sort of damage output, which is like Dragapult can't actually get this one hit KO on this one. Gardevoir as well can't really get this one. And Archaludon can get this big, huge attack going off pretty much as early as the second turn of the game for how disruptive it is and kind of how aggressive a deck style is, even under the likes of Iono or Budew. HG Box obviously can struggle a bit against Budew, so actually seeing it get second place is obviously really, really impactful. But if we look at the top 4 placements, we haven't really seen, as of right now, the Lugia and Dragapult deck be released right now. But I would definitely expect the Dragapult to actually play a Budew. So only one Budew in top 4. It's really interesting. Look at the top 8, we actually do have the results there. We know that one of them at least potentially would have played a Budew. So that's definitely, again, something to really consider how the meta is really warping around this spawn. So I'm very intrigued about this one. If you're kind of like going into this, your EUIC testing, kind of like take the spell still as a pinch of salt, but it's really interesting exactly how the format is really developing over the course of this format. They've only had it for just a couple of weeks. So without further ado, let's jump actually into the sort of winning list and some of the results. So if we look at this winning Duraludon list here, nothing too sort of special about this one, but it's obviously still nice to see. We're seeing obviously Scoop Up Cyclone be the ace spec of choice, and obviously Dialga as a really good secondary attacking option. This is the great one as well, so you have Star Chronos to take additional turn, and this is going to be really good attack. That pretty much I feel like swings the matchup to you. Lots of people just play the regular Duraludon, but I think having the Dialga is an incredible good response. You still obviously play a 4/4 line of Duraludon, it's a great attacking option, but Dialga is so powerful. The fortune as well to reutilize them, Iono for that disruptor capability, obviously jamming Tower as well, because you could be very scared of a Bravery Charm, and if Miraidon's doing incredibly well, Raging Bolt as well, so you want to definitely kind of like go around that as well, which I really like. So I can definitely like some Gardevoir. They're a little bit more tricky. Again, if we see here, the item cards aren't as impactful as many. Most of them are like the searching cards or potentially getting the energies back. So again, Budew can go really well around this one. It has a ton of HP and can definitely hit much stronger, especially from its second turn onwards. Similar can be said about like Ancient Box. We can see Ancient Box obviously do incredibly well. And what's so interesting is it plays a brilliant blender build. Now, I mentioned obviously a few weeks ago that I think the Secret Box is still the best way for this one, as we can get even more, I think like 2 or 3 more extra discards than like so a brilliant blender would have. Because you get like the Sada, you can get Pokestop, which potentially can lead into discarding effect. You can get obviously the Earthen Vessel, which can lead to another discarding effect. So I would always see that Secret Box is much better. Could it be that much more aggressive play? But the brilliant blender, it's amazing for that really much that turn 1 aggro pressure, which is pretty much I feel like what this deck needs. It needs to keep up in this Budew metagame. It wants to be hitting for potentially over 180 damage on its first attack and go, right, what can you do? What can you respond? I'm a single prize attacking option. And I really like what Brilliant Blender really had to this sort of impact for the metagame. I really feel like Monkey Dory as well, because that's a really good way to just like remove a Budew straight away by moving 3 damage counters on your side and taking a prize card, because as we know, about nearly 50% of decks right now are playing a 30 HP Pokemon, whether it be Clefairy or whether it be Budew. So that Monkey Dory take pretty much a free prize card is really, really good, especially can swing the prize rate, especially into a metagame. Now, this is a really interesting now, we're looking at the top 8 list, and this is the Dragapult Goldingo. This has got one of the most amount of draw factors I think I've ever seen in a deck, because obviously you have Vigil Cloaks, which is really good for that total recon directive, but also you have Goldingo as well with that coin bonus. There are a ton of really interesting style decks. Plus also you have a Budew and Monkey Dory. There is so many things going with this one. If you look at this list, you might go, how on earth did this one make top 8? There is so many interesting sort of metacals as well. Play the Unfair Sandwich, they're really, again, interesting sort of ace spec. I would definitely think like a Hyper Aroma could be much better because you have so many reliant on your stage 1 sort of draw factors. So I really like this one. And also I love that Crispin is the main sort of ace spec supporter card you would play in this one. You can really energy accelerate like for Dragapult, but also it's so good because you can get the energy attachment from a Goldingo and then have additional one in the hand, so not rely on the likes of the Budew. That's one of the things I really struggle with when I'm playing Golden right now into Budew is going, I don't have any ways to search on my deck for energy. So having Crispin is a great sort of way around the sort of the Budew sort of metagame. I really like the Clef key as well for that really disruptive sort of turn one. It's sort of if you're going first or going second, it's a really good sort of disruptive play. I really love what's with Budew as well. So it can have that sort of effects where you're still taking your time as well, but they have really good explosive sort of turns. So I really like what Crispin really has for this deck. And I think it's so creative and kind of seen him be rewarded by top 8 placement. I'm really excited. I definitely want to be trying out this version because going to go, as you know, I've been doing it for my mastering video. It's been my main deck for the last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to see this sort of innovation right now. I think this works in this Budew sort of format. I really like this sort of style of deck, and I'm really excited to see exactly how it's going to go moving forward. Another one is this Miraidon top 8, and not too different to how we've seen Miraidon sort of play in the past. I really like the Minior as well. It's a good way to get this huge amount of damage output, especially if we're going into a format where a lot of people are going to go to like Miraidon. People definitely thought Miraidon is going to be the best sort of basic Pokemon attacking right now. And obviously Minion is really good to get this big one-hit KO straight on this one, especially because I really love what it has to offer. And it can obviously be a free retreater sometimes as well, because with the likes of Latias. Again, nothing too different we've seen in most Miraidon lists, but I'm really excited to see that it's still doing really well. Miraidon, I feel like always does incredibly well in Champions League and kind of gives you reward of a top 8 placement is really strong. This Lugia top 8 is, again, not too different to how we've seen most of the Lugias be played recently. We've played the likes of 2 copies of Regigigas, which is probably definitely a little bit different. There's also the likes of the 2 Iron Hands, so I generally can see this be worked incredibly well. The 2 copies of Regigigas over likes of any Minccino builds, I think works incredibly well. You want to have a guaranteed sort of attacking option, with likes of the Dragapults and Charizard, so kind of having a single price option to then kind of like trade against this one is really good. Similar could be said the likes of 2 copies of Iron Hands. Having this could be really good, especially against the likes of Ancient Box. You're already playing a ton of bosses orders, so trying to go for their 120 HPs, the likes of their Greninjas, their Fluttermanes on the bench, this is really, really good. It can definitely swing the matchup. What I love is they still play these Sob Ogerpon. Obviously, it's good to get that sort of bench sniping damage, but also good for sub to trapping. Let's also just have a basic Terra Pokemon in play. So if a lot of decks would play Area 0, you can kind of like respond there, but have a giant bench size as well. And obviously get rid of any reliabilities in the later term. 2 basic energy cards, again, makes sense by playing 2 copies of Iron Hands, but I really like this one. This is a really interesting top 8 Lugia list, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to be developed. Will we see Regigigas kind of like be the mainstay and kind of like pushing Lugia just over there until it hits rotation? Now, of course, the last one we'll look at is Archaludon, this top 8 one. Again, this is a little bit different to the list we just talked about with the winning one. This isn't playing the likes of a Dialga. This is focusing purely on just Archaludon as your main sort of attacking option. And you can see the rest of it is very straightforward. The support account is incredibly high. 4 board disorders, 4 research, 3 Ionos, 2 Professor Churro scenarios. You even have a scoop up cycling. So you have a ton of ways to kind of like put energies back into your hand or in the discard pile as well. So I really like this Archaludon. Just a little bit different, but like I say, it's a bit weaker as well too. The likes of Budew have a ton of sort of items locks as well. It's very reliant on the other items. So looking at these top 8 lists, and also looking at them more right now, we can pretty much predict, I would say, and very safely say, only 2 Budews actually made into top 8, which is incredibly different to where I kind of thought we were going to be, especially looking at last week and the week before about how impactful Budew really had warped the meta game. So could we actually see it change quite a lot going to the City Leagues? Now I want to break down some of the top 16, top 32 lists and kind of like see some of the fun sort of lists as well, kind of the changes people have made and kind of see exactly how impactful that certain card Budew really was. Now, if we look at this Lugia versus top 16, again, this is very much how we've seen Lugia kind of be played in the past. We've seen the Minccino line, but much thinner. We've still seen the Iron Hands, we've seen the Regigigas, but going back to having a Weird and Bloody Luna as a really good other sort of attacking option. Having the Carmine and Squawkabilly makes this deck have a really aggressive sort of approach. And I really like this one, especially if they're scared of Budew. They want to go, right, I want to go through my deck as quickly as possible. I want to get 2 Archeops in my discard pile and not rely on like an Ultra Ball potentially drawing into a research in the later game. So again, I really like what Lugia really has to offer in this new format. I think Regigigas has definitely pushed it a little bit forward. This is a really interesting Ceruledge, which got top 32. And the reason why I'm saying this one is that it's got plays quite interesting. It doesn't really play any of the sort of text we've seen Ceruledge kind of get used to. We've seen some of them play some of the Palkias, but this is very much a straightforward, plain to text Ceruledge with having a 1 copy of the Pokemon League headquarters, which I think is really good. If we're seeing the likes of Regigigas, which has an instantly 1-hit KO on this one, giving them having them to put 1 more energy attached to this one could be very, very scary. Or again, in the likes of Dragapult, not Dragapult, Raging Bolt, which could obviously make some sort of key issues as well if they only have to now attack with 3 energies. So again, something around this one, which I really like this one, kind of makes it a little bit more protected. But again, the rest of this one is very straightforward, very simple. One thing I would love, especially is to win heavy ball, so you can go very fast, very aggressively if you actually prize that squawk ability and kind of then keep going. Now, this Gardevoir top 32 list is pretty much exactly how we've been seeing Gardevoir be played in this new format. We're still seeing the likes of that Budew, which I really like about this one, the Morty as well. I think Morty is incredibly powerful. It's an amazing draw factor. If we're seeing lots of people still play the Area 0 under depths, or even have 4 or 5 Pokemon on the bench, it's a matter of drawing to 5. This is so nice. I really like the inclusion back of the Cresselia. Way to move around your damage counter, way to protect your board so they don't get these big one-hit KOs. So we're also just taking key prices. If we're seeing a huge increase of these single prizes or archetypes where Archaludon is mainly single prize, except likes of Archaludon, sometimes even the Dialga, or even the Ancient Box, I could really see this Cresselia kind of be a mainstay into rotation hits. Again, the rest of it as well, not too different to how we've seen, but a really interesting deck right here is this Raging Bolt, which is the last list we're actually going to talk about. You might go, Charlie, this is very simple. What on earth is interesting? It plays a Crispin. What I love about this one is it's an additional way to get energies around Energy Accelerate from the deck, which I love. Instead of like Starter Witch from the discard pile, getting a Crispin early on, it does exactly the same as what Starter does by Energy Accelerating, but you just go straight the 2 energy straight onto Raging Bolt. I love this one. It's such an interesting pick, and I'm really surprised no one has really thought about this a little bit sooner. I think this could be really good, especially again in this Budew format. It's a way to keep up this one, not relying on the energy from a discard pile and to go, right, this is basically my 5th starter. Heck, you can chuck a power pad on this one. You also need to have 7 ways to energy accelerate your guys, which I absolutely love. And I think this is a really interesting take about Raging Bolt. So, without further ado, let's wrap up the video kind of looking ahead. Was Budew actually that impactful? Kind of looking at results, it definitely seems it definitely did warp the format a little bit. But we didn't see the huge deep run to the likes of the Dragapult kind of like getting to the finals, or Gardevoir as well. Gardevoir didn't make top 32, but I think that's still a good sort of testament. We are seeing the format actually kind of like warp around this one. Could we see more the rise of its off-meta decks? I mentioned likes of Archaludon at the start going, oh, it's potentially an off-meta archetype, but I generally think it could definitely be a 100% meta deck. We saw it be the 3rd most popular deck, which get top 16 in the City League. So we saw it get a top 8 placement and a final, obviously a winning spot at the Champions League. So could we kind of see Archaludon really kind of continue to rise as well? And our Iono Pokemon going to be good. I'm really excited to see obviously more rotation hits, and it's a huge sort of format as well. That's only pretty much just over a month away. So I'm incredibly excited to see exactly how the format is really kind of going to be developing over the next coming weeks. So without further ado, let's wrap up the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope you also have an amazing happy holidays and Christmas to all of those who celebrate. Apologies if this video is a little bit different. I was recording on my wife's laptop instead of my regular one, as I'm currently away. But I'm going to be back in a few days' time with a couple more shorts kind of going around. Obviously, next week is I'm really analysing the rest of the results from the Champions League and seeing exactly how it's really impactful the City League in the weeks going forward. My name is Charlie TCG. Hope you have a brilliant holidays, and I will see you guys later. Bye for now.